Let's make our first app with App Inventor for this course. And doing so is pretty easy. What we need to do is first find App Inventor. And you can look it up using Google. And the first link that comes up is App Inventor. We want App Inventor 2. And if you come into here, it'll end up going to ai2.appinventor, and you'll usually get this survey notification of new builds. They say, okay. And I've been working on some stuff for an article that'll come out in a blog post on the App Inventor site. But let's make a new project because that's what our assignment's going to be. So we go to My Projects, and we're going to start a new project. Okay, this is a list of all the ones that I have here. And you want to keep this kind of clean. If you get too many in here, and I mean 300 or more, App Inventor actually has a problem with it. But just don't let this grow too much and you won't have to worry about it. Click Start a New Project, and let's just call it HelloPurr. Click OK, or hit Enter, and you're good. Now you get a screen that looks like this, and this is the designer. The designer's got a couple of different pieces. There's a palette, there's a viewer, there's a component section, and a property section. Then the other two things that are really important is the designer button and the blocks button. If you go to the blocks, it changes what you see over here, and that's where all the blocks end up going, and back to the designer. Okay, we'll get to this one in a minute, but for right now, just designer. On the palette, there's a bunch of different drawers. The one that shows up initially is the user interface drawer, and it's going to have what we need now. You'll scroll down and you can see that there are other ones, and if you close a drawer by clicking on it, or opening another drawer, so only one's up at a time, sorry, you'll see that there's different layouts, there's different media components, there's different drawing and animation things, sensors, and so on. We care about the user interface right now, and to make our particular assignment, we need to do a couple of things. One of them is to create our app, and doing so involves basically a screen to begin with, and the screen is going to have a couple of things. It'll have a label, and so let's grab a label from over here. See this guy? It says label, and if you want to know what it is, you can click on this, and you can even click on this and it'll get you a whole new page that'll explain about the label. But if you just need a short little tidbit, there it is. But if you click it and drag it over to the screen, ta-da, you will see that a label comes up with the default text. Now the viewer is what your screen is basically going to look like on your device, okay? It's your app screen, it's a model of it. And if you come over here, you see that I've added a label into the screen container, and the label, which is selected now, and now the screen selected, now the label selected, you can tell by what shows up as highlighted here. The whole screen is in a green box, just the label's in a green box, and the properties relate to whatever's selected. So a label has a background color. The screen has an about screen and an app name, okay? These are different components or properties of the component itself. So on the label, one thing we want to have is something that says pet the kitty. So if we scroll down, we see text. So let's say pet the kitty. And hit enter, and watch what happens right here when I hit enter. Now it's changed. And as you can see, the designer reflects nicely whatever is on the device itself. And that's pretty cool. But what's cooler is when you can actually see it on the actual device, and doing so requires that you go and connect. And what we want to do that is click on this button here, connect, and we're going to go to the AI companion. Now if I click on this, I get a screen here, and I'm going to show you what my screen looks like. This is my device over here, and I'm going to open it up. And in doing that, you'll see that I have the AI companion down here. So if I click on this guy, now I'm going to get this, and I'm going to say scan with the QR code because we're going to connect. So I come over here and I point it at the screen, and once I'm focused on it, App Inventor sees it, and you can see now pet the kitty. Same as what we have here. And in fact, let's get it so you can see both screens at the same time. All right, so now let's do this. Now, if I were to change something over in here, like maybe the background color, right now there's none, But if I changed it to blue, it would change the label's text background to blue. And if I go back to none, it gets fixed on both my real phone and here in the designer itself. It's pretty cool. Now what we also want to do is we want to add a button. And the button that we want to add is over here in the UI components. So let's scroll over and we'll go and take a button. We'll drag it down. If you put it up top, it'll be above Pet the Kitty. And if you put it below, it'll be below Pet the Kitty. And notice it changes here and it changes here each time because the responsive design of this is such that when you make a change on one, you can change it in the other. And that way you can see really what your app looks like. If I click the button, nothing happens right now. This is unclickable, okay? You can't actually interact with it, but over on this side you can. And actually by clicking on the real phone is what I'm trying to say. So what we need to do now is change the image of the button because the button has an image property. I'm going to make this big again so we can all see. Let's see, there's an image and right now it has none. What we want to do is change it. We want to upload a file. Now I've already followed the instructions on the book, and if you look here, you will see that I have a kitty and a meow MP3 file. They are indeed in the book. The URL to get them is pretty straightforward to find, but what we're going to do, and I'll have them on the assignment page as well, is I'm going to upload them. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go and say image, I want to change this button and I want to change the image and I want to say upload and I'm going to choose a file and I put both of these on my desktop. So if I go here to desktop, I see kitty and we click on that and we're going to say okay. And now it's uploaded and the image is right there. Now notice there's text in there still, right? Text for button 1 and that shows up right here. And if I don't want that, I just highlight it and delete it. And as soon as I say enter or click out, it goes away. And also on my phone, you can see I've got it. Now this is a clickable button, okay? But nothing's going to happen right now because first of all, we don't have the code in place. And second of all, we don't have the meow file, which is something else I want to upload. And let's say to do that, we're going to need some media files. Now there's one way to upload the media file is by clicking here and saying choose file and clicking meow. This is a very easy way to do it. So let's just go and say okay. And now, boom, the file is uploaded. We are in a position to have the behavior of our app actually come together for the most part. What we don't have in place is to have the sound component. And the sound component is something that we're going to need so we can get the app to vibrate and do exactly what we want a little bit later on. And the way we do that is we go over to our, not user interface, but media, and then we find a sound component. Now if you look at it, it tells you a little bit about it. There's a player component as well. Notice that the length of time, blah, blah, blah. This component is best suited for sounds like songs that are longer, whereas the sound component is best for short sounds, which is really what we're going to do. They are both very similar. You can use one interchangeably with the other in most cases. So let's grab the sound component. We're going to drag it over to our app, but notice it's going to show up at the bottom. It's not going to show up in here. It will show up over here, but it'll show up below this screen just a little bit down here. So I'll scroll down. There's the player component, okay? We don't want the player component, so we wanted the sound component. You could use the player, so let's just, we've got it selected, not this one, but this one. We're going to click delete, say okay, and it goes away. And if I take the sound component, drag it over, it's not going to, it'll show up here, and it'll also show up at the bottom. We've got both, and now we have everything that we need to make our app do what we want it to, okay? And that is pretty much it. The next piece is we're going to click on this blocks button, and we're going to see that all the pieces that are here, screen, label, button, sound 1, are going to show up here. Screen, label, button, sound 1.